All right, as you can see, there are just absolutely tons of ghost shrimp mounds everywhere this morning.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to be all about these creepy little critters, the ghost shrimp. Everybody loves them. They're my favorite go-to bait. But before I get into that, I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. The channel is starting to build some steam up, and that's because of you guys. I mean, but without you, this channel is nothing, and I can't thank you enough for that. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click this little icon somewhere in this area. That'll get you subscribed to the channel, and that way you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. But enough about that. Let's jump into the video. Okay, so what's going to be in the video today is my main goal here is we're going to salt some ghost shrimp. I like to salt my regular shrimp for bait. So we're going to do it on some ghost shrimp, see what turns out. I don't know if it's going to work at all, but hey, you don't know unless you try. And then at the end of this video, I will also show you how I go about pumping up my ghost shrimp. But before we get into those, I will show you how I keep my ghost shrimp alive after I pump them up. Okay, so what I do, I'm out there, I get them pumped up. I've got a little bucket that I put them in. I keep it full of water, and when I bring them home, I switch them over to a different container like this. This is just like a big square container. And then at the very bottom of this, I have a wet paper towel, and it's wet from the salt water. I don't put fresh water in there. Fresh water is going to kill them probably. But what I do, I put that wet paper towel on the bottom, another piece of wet paper towel on top. And as you can see, these guys are pretty lively. Not all of them. There's a few dead ones in there. They've been in here for 24 hours. I actually got these yesterday morning, and as you can see, I mean, some of these guys are still super lively. So this is a good way to keep them, especially overnight. I never really had any intention of keeping them alive this long, but I threw my back out, so I wasn't able to fish this morning. But this is how I keep them alive in between pumping them up and taking them out the next day. All right, so the two main things to keep these guys alive overnight is keep them wet. You don't want them to dry out, and you want to keep them cool. So I'm fortunate right now. We're getting lows in the 30s. I just had that little plastic bucket sitting on the floor of my garage. My garage might have got up to 40 degrees. I mean, it's freezing out in the garage as well. So if it's summertime, what you may have to do, you may have to put those guys in a 5-gallon bucket or something, and then have a second 5-gallon bucket, put some ice in there, set the bucket of ghost shrimp inside the bucket of ice, because again, you don't want fresh water getting on them, and that's going to keep them cool. That's one way to preserve them, or you might even be able to put them in the fridge. I've never put them in the fridge overnight, so I don't know if that works, but that's another option. All right, and the salt that I'm using is the big, thick, kosher salt. And as always, it is blessed, so you have the Lord on your side. And what I'm gonna do, I actually went through and I picked out some of the ones that died, and these guys absolutely stink. I'm not even gonna put those in there. They're not fresh, they stink. I'm not even gonna try it. I don't really know what else to do other than just throw these live guys in there. And there's about, there's probably 3/4 inch layer of salt in the bottom of this. I would go a minimum of a 1/2 inch. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and get these guys lined in there, and then we'll throw some salt on top of them. All right, I've got 25 of them in there. That's more than enough to try this. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and put another layer over the top of them. I'm gonna have to smooth that out once I get it in there. And this salt is super old. I've been using this salt for, I don't know, probably, well, actually, by this point, I'm probably pushing a year that I'm using this salt. So this salt has been on a lot of shrimp, but the salt stays good. I mean, it dries back out after you use it, so absolutely no need to go out and buy new salt every single time. All right, so now the plan is that I've got the salt on the ghost shrimp. I'm gonna throw that in my fridge. I'm gonna check on them in 24 hours and see if they are good to go like regular shrimp is. So see you in 24. All right, guys, that was a quick 24 hours. The ghost shrimp have been sitting in the salt for this time, and now it's time to see what they look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and dig into this. Where we at? There we go. All right, I'm gonna get some of this salt shaken off there. Okay, they're definitely a little more firm. Still pretty flimsy, as you can see there. Not a whole lot of firmness to them. I did bring in a hook to put through one of them because I'm curious, and I'm gonna rig them up just like I normally do. I'll take the point of the hook and I'll run it through the belly side, and I will run that right through the belly and up the back. See how this stays on there. Definitely a little crispy. You can hear it crunching a little bit. It definitely feels more firm than when they're fresh. Did not get it on the hook very well whatsoever, but the little, I don't know what you call those, the little things that they move themselves with, these little ridges there, those are pretty brittle. That hook just went right through it. So I'm gonna actually take this hook back out, and then I'm actually just gonna run it through the top of the body. I'm gonna try to thread it onto the hook several times to see what that does. Just once, twice, get it up here. All right, that's definitely the way to hook these. That's on there a little more firm. Not on there excellent, but there's really no solid way to hook a ghost shrimp without using magic thread. So I'll definitely throw some magic thread on this still to hold it on there. Okay, my initial thoughts on the salted ghost shrimp, definitely not as firm as regular shrimp. The regular shrimp has more meat, has more texture to it. The ghost shrimp are pretty much a outer exoskeleton with gel inside. And the exoskeleton is super brittle being salted. So it's going to be a multiple thread with the hook. It's not going to be just run it through the mill and call it good. I'm going to put it on there 3 or 4 times, and I'm still going to use magic thread. I'm going to wrap that up with magic thread. I'm going to get those guys out off the pier tomorrow if I'm able to fish. I went and got steroid shots in my back today. Hopefully that's going to allow me to actually walk a little bit. Definitely ain't going to be able to go off the beach. That's not going to happen. But hopefully I can do the pier. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the portion where I show you how I catch the ghost shrimp.
And since I think that ghost shrimp are the king of baits, I want to share with you how I go about finding them. And the first thing you got to have is a ghost shrimp pump. It's basically a plunger. You're sucking those ghost shrimp up out of their mouths. And ghost shrimp aren't something you're going to be able to go out and just scoop up with your bare hands. You can do that with sand fleas, but it's not going to work with ghost shrimp because they burrow down too far. So the first thing you got to do is go out and buy you a pump, or you can make one. I was lazy and I bought one. Saved me time that way. But let's go ahead and get out to the water and find out how to catch them. All right, when I'm trying to key in on an area to find ghost shrimp, what I want to look for is what's right here in front of me. It's super shallow. We're out here at low tide. The water's pretty clear. The water's calm. Those are all things that are going to help you find these ghost shrimp. If it's rough and dirty and deep, it's extremely hard to find ghost shrimp. I just walk out here and I start looking for these mounds. I'm going to put my pump right next to this one. You'll look down and you'll see that mound. There may not be anything in that mound. That mound's a little closed up. But I'm going to put my ghost shrimp pump over that mound, and when I pull on the plunger, I'm going to rip it up like I'm starting a lawnmower, because you want to create a lot of suction. And I'll give each mound 3 pumps if I'm not getting anything out of there. After the 3rd pump, I got one up out of there. I just destroyed it. He got tore up. We'll leave him there, and we'll move on to the next mound, because there are several out here. Again, right here, I'll put my pump next to it so you can see that. Yeah, we'll wait for that wave to clear out. Right there, you can see that hole right next to my pump. That's where the ghost shrimp are burrowed into. And again, pull it like you're starting a lawnmower up. You want to get that, excuse me, you want to get that suction. And right there's the ghost shrimp. I just throw them in my pocket. Not everybody wants to put them in their pocket, but I'm gross. Putting them in my pocket doesn't bother me. Give this mound a couple pumps real quick. Just see if we can get another one up real quick for you. There he is. Let that kind of settle. And right there's you another ghost shrimp. How I put on my ghost shrimp is I'll always start off with a piece of fish bite or fish gum, and then what I do, I go from the bottom side and I come to the back, come to the very back of this ghost shrimp. And I go in from the bottom, and then I run that hook inside up along the back of the ghost shrimp to thread it on there as good as I can. And then I break out the magic thread. It's an elastic thread. It's got a lot of stretch to it, and I'll pinch it up here towards the top of the hook, and then I go crazy, guys. Just don't be afraid of putting too much magic thread on here. You're not gonna put too much on. Just go wild. Wrap it bare minimum of 10 times. I usually probably go about 20, and then my ghost shrimp's on there and it's ready to cast out.
All right, guys. Once again, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to watch my little YouTube channel. It means more to me than you'll ever realize. So once again, I really appreciate that. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. So until next time, I'll see you later.